Hi, it's Eileen from Teach with ND, and today we're going to talk about some of the best side hustles for teachers, especially if you're neurodivergent. So if you have ADHD or autism or dyslexia or any other form of neurodivergence, these are ideas that I've picked that I've tried to find ways to make them as less stress as possible, because I know that we don't need any more stress, and while respecting our time and energy levels, which can all be so variable when you have ADHD, for example. And so that said, you have to pick for yourself what works best for you. Of course, everybody's different. And so okay. So I know that you're tired and probably worn out, maybe even burned out, but the fact remains you still have to pay your bills. I know that feeling. And unfortunately, as we all know, our society, the powers that be, don't pay teachers nearly enough for the amount of important work that we do. And so it's only natural that, we would want some ideas that would work for our schedule that would also help pay the bills. So, when you have ADHD or autism, for example, we really want, we tend to want things that are like clearly defined, and, with clear steps to follow. And we also want that flexibility that comes with not being tied down to a certain tight schedule. So, is there a perfect side hustle for people in our situation? Probably not, but, again, we, pick and choose what works best for you. All right, so all that said, in this pillar post, I will have some lower stress ideas, some more introvert-friendly ideas for when you don't want to deal with more students, or even, the least amount of talking would be best for you. Ideas for when you're short on time. Ideas for when you need a flexible schedule, and ideas for burned out teachers. And then at the end, I'll talk about some creative ways you can take work that you've already done as a teacher and turn that into some extra income without having to totally recreate the wheel. All right, so first up, we have tutoring, which is, sort of the classic teacher side hustle. And when I stepped out of the classroom, it was something that pretty much everyone and their mother suggested to me. And at the time, I wasn't quite ready to do that. But now it is something that I'm considering. And if you're in a place where you could consider it, it definitely can be one of, I think, the more like streamlined, direct ways you can use your knowledge and your skills to make some extra work, some extra money. Rather, we don't need more work. We just need the money. So this could be either one-on-one or small groups. It could be online or in person. You could arrange it to be after school, potentially, if you have that time available, which you probably don't, but if you do, you could use that time. Similarly, you might have one day on a weekend that works for you, even if it's, 2 or 3 hours on a Saturday every week. That can add up and put a little extra cash in your pocket. Also, summers or winter breaks, things like that, things to think about. Some of the benefits of this So some of the pros of tutoring, you already know the content. It's not like you need to go back and study. Of course, if it's something that you usually teach, that, that goes without saying. You can reuse some of your materials that you've taught or created even. And depending on what you're teaching, you can even charge a higher rate for more, for certain subjects or skills. It just depends what you're offering. Some ideas that would help you and possibly your students, especially if they're neurodivergent, would be using visual schedules and timers and keeping your structure consistent just as you would with your regular lessons. Some ideas that you could consider would be offering homework help, even offering help with managing time, especially if your students do have ADHD, depending on your certifications and what the families would be looking for, but that could be helpful. And then again, like subject specific, if you are quite trained in a certain area. Like for me, I was an elementary music teacher, so I would be looking to tutor in a music related field. And it's good for people if you still have some patience left for students. Of course, we love them to take a break, but if you are at a place where you still have that left to give, you can really help out some students that need that extra help. And it also can be good if you don't want to have to learn like brand new skills at the moment. Next up, we have selling lesson plans and teaching resources. So this could include everything from worksheets, like Google Docs, templates, even assessments, classroom decor, units. You can, again, make money by essentially reusing some of your work, although you do have to, go through the process of potentially setting up a shop and things like that. But I've been learning about that myself as I've embarked on this blogging journey to help other neurodivergent teachers. And it's actually pretty fun and doable when you have the right resources. And so let's see. Some tips to help you get started. So start simple, think about one subject. As you go, you'll be able to start making your own templates that will help you create faster and more consistently. And then again, editing some of your older materials. This can be good if you enjoy planning more than like face-to-face teaching interactions. And if you need a little bit more distance from actually working with students. Then we have educational content creation on YouTube or TikTok, where you could make reels or blogs like I'm doing. You could make a podcast, anything about teaching and or learning. Some ideas would be things like teacher jokes, teacher humor, study tips, math tricks, depending on what you teach, organization ideas for classrooms, ideas for teaching on a cart, ideas for when you're at one school, ideas for if you're split between two schools. There's so many possibilities. Some tips for you to make this go smoother, is, again, especially if you are neurodivergent, would be to batch your video creation on days that you are feeling good and, that you have more energy than some other days. And just start simple, start, with whatever equipment you have. Don't get hung up on like having the best lighting. If there's anything I've learned along the way in the blogging journey, for example, that I've been on, is that it's more about being consistent and consistently outputting content. So the whole idea of like done is better than perfect totally applies, like 100,000%. Also work from bullet points, and to help rein you in and keep you focused on what you came to deliver in that video, and also to not have to memorize lengthy scripts. This technique requires patience and consistency, just as blogging. It's not fast cash or overnight riches, but it will pay off in the long term. All right, then we have teaching English online. Sometimes it's easy to forget, but English is always an in-demand skill, the ability to speak English. And with that, there's several platforms that already exist, which I will link to in the blog post, as well as some resources for you. And you can set your own hours to some extent, depending on the platform that you're working with. You are usually working one-on-one, which can be nice. However, you will need to make sure that you have, good, reliable internet at home and a quiet environment. So if you're at a place where you are looking for something that's totally not related to teaching, for your side gigs, you could think about freelance writing, editing. You might have colleagues, or they might know people who want somebody to proofread things for them. You could look into being a VA, a virtual assistant. There are some platforms out there that will, again, help you do this. Some of them take a little bit longer than others, I think, to kind of get integrated with, and may or may not pay well. In my experience, I worked with one that it paid decently, but it was not enough work and or money. But I know that there are people who have found that. So I think it just depends on your location or if you're looking online, and a lot of other factors. Data entry could be something to look into. If you enjoy animals, you could develop, like a little mini pet sitting or dog walking service that can be quite lucrative if you live in an area where there's a lot of pet owners. And if you were to do that, I would suggest kind of going all in on that and not worrying about other ideas, because I do think that one probably pays the best and gives you what they call active income. So it's, cash upfront, basically, in comparison to other things that take longer and that will eventually create more passive income. So if you're in a place where you need cash faster, pet sitting might be something for you to consider. And then along with that, house sitting or taking care of plants, that can also be fun and pay well. Just don't ask me to care for your plants, because I'm really not with a green thumb at all. So once I had a cactus that I managed not to destroy, and that was a victory for me. So it needed very little from me. And yeah. All right, so this video has gotten very long. So I'm going to actually stop it here. There will be more information in the supporting posts. So please make sure you check that out. And I hope that this has given you some ideas to start working with. And good luck to you as you look to support yourself a little bit more. All right. Thanks for stopping by. Take care.